In Sun City, there are a lot of home businesses. I happen to be with Ron over in Wildlife Bay, and he has stamp business. Now, Ron, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I started as a trading club with all different people giving me stuff. I took their stamps and sent it to somebody else. I took somebody else's stamps and sent it to them. So one person's duplicates became another person's treasures, so to speak.
So, how much was your investment in this?
A friend of mine started the club, gave it to me with a check for $500 because some of the stamps were missing from the sheets, so I had to pay the people back. So I actually got $500 to start.
Okay, now how does this work with this stamp trading? How is it? How do you do this?
I take from one person and give it to another, and I make 10% when I trade them.
Now, how do you get the stamps?
From somebody else. You send me your stamps, and then I take those stamps and I give it to somebody else that is interested in your area. He might only be interested in one country. You might have gave me 10 different countries. So only one of the things that you give me would go to him. The other 9 would go somewhere else.
All right, now they come in the mail. Did you have an envelope?
They come in the mail. Here's an envelope. That's how it comes. This is I don't.
Now, how long have you been doing this?
Since 1988. This was the job that kept me sane while I was working. You could do
So
this.
it started off as a hobby?
It's still a hobby. There's really no money in this the way I do it. It's mostly like a service, and I make a couple of bucks, and it's very interesting to me. This is basically this guy bought $13 worth of the stamps. He's sending me back the stamps he didn't want. And he took a couple from here. Other ones he didn't take at all.
So this is kind of an honor system.
Stamp collectors are very honest. They're just a rare breed. I really never had a problem with honesty. And if there is a problem with honesty, you have a real problem. But they're just not there. The people are they just want to share what
honest
they have.
and they enjoy what they do.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any high dollar? I think you were mentioning that you had some valuable stamps as well.
There are some valuable stamps. I have a special place I keep them, if I can find them. I have a special place. Well, they're all over the room. But there's United States stamps are one of the key things in the club because we live in the United States. And this is where I keep the United States better stamps. And if I could show you a $1,000 stamp, would you be surprised?
Absolutely.
So like this sheet is $215 just for 4 stamps.
Hold it up a second.
That's $250 for the couple of stamps. Here's this sheet, and that's retail value. This is $108 for that sheet of stamps. Now they could take one stamp, and then I would continue sending it to other people to try to sell it to the other people. And if they price it too high, it's obviously not going to sell. If they price it right, it will sell. I'm trying to find the cream of the crop that most collectors really want to have, and you never find the one you want, right?
Of course not. And what
would
would be the value of that stamp?
This is a $1,100 stamp.
One stamp?
Yeah. What makes stamps valuable is the country from which the stamp is from. This is $885 for these 4 stamps.
Hold it.
The country that the stamps are from has a certain amount of core collectors. In the United States, it's 150,000 people collect United States stamps, and they want to have one of every stamp that exists. If some of them leave the hobby and there's 140,000 stamps wanted instead of 150,000, the price of all the stamps in the market go down, because only those 150,000 people will pay top dollar for a stamp. Most other people will pay a discounted price, and that's all they're willing to pay, and that brings the price down. This has a cert on it. A cert means you send it to an expert to say if it's real. And there's a lot of phony stamps around. A lot of things can be phony about a stamp. It could have a bad cancel that was made by somebody that wanted to have the stamp be used instead of new. It could have damage on the perforations around the side. It could have a pinhole in it. And they put it under a 10-time scope to find out if the stamp is damaged in any way, and they send you back a report on it, and this is called the certificate, saying whether the stamp is real and what the damage is, and they grade it. They say how good the stamp is. They say if it's I think the number goes from 1 to 85 or something like that. So if you have the best quality stamp for here, it's going to be worth more money. And you only do that with the more expensive stamps. Okay?
Now, how do you keep them in order?
Not very, very bad. I'm very, very bad at keeping them
just
in
by
order.
country, or
They're in order by country. And when I go to stamp shows, I just went to one this weekend in Columbia. And the people will ask for a country, and I'll give it to them. And sometimes countries are combined, so my wife and I will actually go through the stamps, look for the country that they want. These are 3 stamps that are very popular in the United States. They're called the Zeppelins. They're pictures of the Zeppelins from about 1920. There are 3 stamps. This one, the retail value is $975. And this is in pretty perfect condition. And you can tell it's perfect condition because of how it's mounted on the centering of the stamp, how nice the perforations look, how nice the color looks. And in the back of the stamp, it was never used. It looks brand new, like it's out of the post office. That's called mint no hinge. And some people only collect that, just like it came out of the post office. If there's a little mark on the back from a pencil or something, it's not mint no hinge anymore. The quality's just not there. And this stamp I'm selling for $900. And these 2 are the other part of the set. The 3 of them together are a set. And these are a little bit less expensive. Okay, this is 105 stamps. I just pulled out. Matter of fact, I don't know where I pulled it out from, but this is Canada, and it has a $20 value as far as the retail price per stamp, but the person's selling it for $2, and somebody will buy this, and they'll get a handful of stamps that are used. And they'll add it to their album. If they have a Canada album, they'll just take the ones they want. And if they want to be part of the club, they take the ones they don't want. They put it back in a package. They say, now instead of 105 stamps, there's 80 stamps, and they send it back to me. And then I'll sell it again. It's an inexpensive hobby, or it could be a very expensive hobby. It's your choice.
depends whether you trade or buy, huh?
It depends on what quality. These are cheaper stamps. These are the stamps that they made 1 million of each instead of 150,000. So just each stamp, how many did you make? What did you use it for? Did you mess up? They printed upside down Jenny in 1920. It's an airplane that's on a stamp, and everybody knows about the upside down stamp. Last year, a couple of years ago, they printed sheets of the upside down Jenny. And what they did is they printed 100 right side up. So now the new stamp, which looks very similar to the old stamp, it's only worth money if it's right side up. They're worth a lot of money, the ones that they printed wrong on purpose. And a lot of people are mad at the post office for that also, because, they're manipulating the market. They did it on purpose. That shouldn't happen. So I can tell you a UN story. The United Nations prints stamps, and there was one set of stamps that went up in value. Every year it got more expensive. And then somebody found a whole bunch of them in a safe, and they flooded the market with the stamp, and all these people that bought UN stamps now for for inflated amount of money, now they weren't worth anything. And a lot of people stopped collecting United Nations because of that. Okay, so the way they manipulate it is the stamp collector's judge. Is that right or is it wrong? And if it's not wrong, they won't collect that area. If they don't collect that area, the price goes down. And so goes the market. When I first started, I bought an album of Sweden. It was my first purchase. I couldn't sell Sweden. Just nobody wanted it. And I had invested like $500 into it. And what's going to happen? And 10 years later, I sold all of it. It just all of a sudden, Sweden was very popular. Now, I might have gotten new customers that like Sweden or just by accident, but things change. And it goes by how many customers you have. I service a very small percentage of the stamp collectors in the country. So the ones I do service have a want area, and that's my want area. That's what I need. Okay?
Oh, that's wonderful, Ron. This is a fabulous business. You're doing a beautiful job, and we will see you next month at the Stamp Club.
Very good. Very good.